Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today we have a double memory planner process. I am trying to do a little catch up in my memory planner, so we're going to do the first 2 weeks of June. I took these pages out of my memory planner for some reason. I think I used them in a spread, so I have an extension pack, so I'm going to add these in, and then we'll just add in the dates and things like that. So this would be the last couple weeks of school, the beginning of summer, and I'm ready to get going on this. So I will put you guys on fast forward. I will link everything that I end up using down below. I think we're going to go with some Felicity Jane for these particular spreads. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait. So that being said, let's go. All right, so I realized to a lot of people this is not very behind. So these are going to cover the very last week of May into the beginning of June. For me, when I'm doing my memory planning, I do like to stay on top of it because I don't have a great memory and I want to be able to tell some of the stories, some of the details of the day. And when I get too far behind, then I just don't remember everything that happened. So that's why I'm going to try to work over the next couple weeks to get caught up. I usually like to do the previous week and just be 1 week behind, if that makes sense. So I was going to do all Felicity Jane, and then I remembered that I had these stickers that were themed for the different sports my kids had been playing. I don't often do themed spreads either, but since both baseball and soccer wrapped up on the same week and I had tons of pictures from both, I figured I would do kind of a feature on both of those. So I did still use Felicity Jane paper. One of my favorite things about Felicity Jane is that they have double-sided paper, and generally on the B side is a very neutral pattern, and oftentimes it's black and white. So these little black and white hearts are going to be perfect to kind of set the stage here at the top of the page. And we're going to go with a red, white, and black scheme with a little bit of green, which sounds a little bit odd, sounds a little bit Christmassy, but it goes with the stickers that I have for each of the kiddos' sports. The majority of the time, I will put scrapbook paper at the bottom of the spread, kind of to form a base. I decided to change it up, and this time we're going to put it at the top. I'm having to kind of piece these two together, and I want the pattern to line up, so that got a little bit tricky. I could have just used another piece of paper, but I wanted to try to take advantage of what I had already torn off. So I have these pieces lined up, and I just, do a little bit of trimming so it's all nice and flat at the top, and then I will measure it out so that it fits here at the top of the spread. So I will stay within the boxes as far as this paper goes. And then of course, you know me, we'll be busting out of the boxes soon enough for memory planning spreads. They're more of just a guideline if you ask me. We'll add a little bit of an extra color pop behind the black and white just because I felt like it would probably get lost because much of the spread will be white. So we'll just do a little bit of red, and it actually worked out okay because my kids all had red in their uniforms. So the boys had red in their baseball uniforms, and my daughter's soccer team, their colors are red and black. So it all worked out really nicely to have red, white, and black be some of the colors. So I love the torn paper look. I feel like it looks very organic, very handmade, and so I use torn paper all of the time. Plus, it saves you from having to be really precise with your cutting, which I'm also a really big fan of. Once I get these two sections down on the paper, then I'm actually going to turn my attention to the stickers, which is a little bit out of the ordinary for me. Whenever I am doing memory planning, I always say go from the biggest element to the smallest element. So the paper generally comes first, and then I go for pictures. In this case, though, I really wanted to make sure I knew where some of these larger stickers were going to go in. So I wanted them to kind of be in place. That kind of throws me for a loop later because I end up wanting to do some layering and I have to pull the stickers up and it becomes a whole thing, but that's okay. I have them in place. I could have put them on like a sticker guide just to make sure I knew where they were going to be, but some basic stickers in place. And now I'll take a look at the pictures I have for the week. I do really like matting all of my pictures. I think it adds a fun scrapbooking element. It feels like a throwback to when I used to do a ton of scrapbooking, and I'm doing something similar on both of these pages. I'm actually going to mat according to the event. So all my daughter's soccer pictures are in the red, baseball is in the black. We have a couple of different events here. In the middle, these are from school events. I planned the end of the year school event. And if you are a PTA parent or you used to be a PTA parent, then you know what a big undertaking that was. I was completely in charge of the end of the year event. We did a tailgate style family night with lots of fun games and free food, and it was a whole deal. And so that took up a ton of my week. And then I have a couple of pictures from that Monday, which was actually Memorial Day. And so I have a couple pictures from there also. I decided to do my pictures in kind of a wonky way, and I end up doing that on both spreads. Sometimes I have them straight, sometimes I have them wonky. Just depends on how I'm feeling on that particular day. But the point being that I grouped the pictures together by event, kind of 4 big events of the week. And then I used the matting color to bring those events together. You can see I'm having all kinds of, these are very, very sticky stickers. Let's just say that. I know I'm using a phrase that says my heart is on that field twice, but it's with 2 different sets of kids. My twins playing baseball and my daughter playing soccer. So we're just going to repeat it. And honestly, I wanted to use all of these stickers because I couldn't imagine saving these sheets and trying to use them for something else. So we'll put baseball on this side because that's where the baseball pictures are, kind of lining it up right there. And then add in the green on this side. It doesn't stretch all the way from end to end, but so we'll just kind of center it over here. And now I have all the main elements on the page. I'm going to add lines like I always do for journaling, and I will fill that in off camera. And then the other thing I need to do would be to add the dates, the numbers. I'm actually going to use a set from Keleva Plan. She has a dated basics set, I think is sold out actually, but I have loved the set. So I'm going to use some of these numbers here at the top just to get the dates on. And then I will use the rest of the dated basics book. There's a bunch of months, there's a bunch of days of the week. So these are clear stickers. I'm actually having a good time like putting them over. You can still read the days of the week through the stickers, if that makes sense. So it covers it up, but you can also read it through. So I think it actually looks kind of cool with that layered effect. I feel like there's a little bit of a blank space over on the top left-hand corner where usually you would have the month. And so I'm going to look and see what I can find in that book. First, I looked to see if there was a Memorial Day. I actually already used the Memorial Day sticker that was in the black and white, and the one that was in the blue, I just didn't want to bring in another color. So we'll have to save that for another time. But I do pick a really large June and May. At first I put the June up here and then realized that this whole week starts in May. So we'll put the June, we'll put May right there, and then we'll put June on June 1st, because why not? That's when June started. So, and I had already pulled the sticker, so why not go ahead and put it down? The last thing I will do is add one other little ephemera piece from my Felicity Jane stash that had red in it, just because I felt like this little cluster needed a little heart. So again, from our end of the year event, went super well, and that page will be done. I'll just add the journaling off camera, and then we will go on to the next page. All right, so this one is super tricky because I took these pages out, I think, for one of my patron spreads. And so now I'm using like 2 different pages. One is undated, one is dated as I get back into the regular memory planner. And we're going to go for a different color scheme. We're going to go lighter and brighter, all about summer, because this was the official last full week of school. My kids went to school until the middle of June. Like, let me know below how long your schools are in session. Most of my friends in Texas got out in May. We went for a really long time. So I'm going to do the same type of thing in this spread that I did in the previous spread, in that there were several just kind of big events that I had pictures from. And so I grouped the events in the same matting. So we have the last Girl Scout meeting, happened to be our last Girl Scout meeting ever. All of those will be in the same color. My son had his first gymnastics meet, and so all of those are going to be in the same color. We had a Mom's Day out and a visit to Crumble Cookie. We'll mat those in pink together. And then we had just a couple other little pictures that I did want to include just from our everyday, and those will get their own color as well. So this just helps your eye to visually group, and then as I group them on the page, it makes even more sense. Before I start putting anything down, I'm going to take time to kind of group, and you can see how they all are in a similar color if they're the same event, which I think works out really well, and then balancing the yellow over there. So we have Girl Scouts happening. Again, sometimes I put them on the correct days of the week that they actually occurred, and sometimes I kind of just spread it out. These are roughly when they occurred. Girl Scouts was on Monday. It goes a little bit into the sidebar. Gymnastics was on Saturday. It spreads out over Friday and Sunday as well. So you don't have to be really specific when adding in your pictures. If you have a lot of pictures like I do a lot of the time or during busy times of the year, then it's okay to not have them line up in the boxes. You don't have to be super linear in your thinking in that way. All right, so with each cluster, I'm trying to find some elements that kind of match in that same color. So I was gonna go for some pink florals and yellow florals. I love the Felicity Jane girls, and so I wanted to include a girl on the page. We'll put that with the first summer soccer practice. And yes, you noted that right. The last soccer game was on Sunday. The first summer soccer practice was on Tuesday. So not much of an off season for my daughter, but I don't know that she would have it any other way. She is just loving, loving, loving soccer these days. All right, and I also love to include labels and such, and you'll see those come in a few different places, and I'll explain why I end up adding some more later on. So just going through these, I always love words. Hello, well, hello, sunshine. That's perfect for my son's first gymnastics meet. You guys, it was amazing. The things that he has learned how to do, he did so well. He came in first all around. He medaled in every event. It was amazing to see him in kind of his element. Like when your people find their thing that they love to do, and I'm pretty sure gymnastics is going to be his thing for a good long while here. It's pretty cool as a parent to get to see that happen. All right, putting all of these down on paper. Again, I'm just using my Tombow permanent adhesive, the tape runner tape, because it just is easiest for me. And as I'm putting together clusters, a lot of times I will put together the clusters off of the page, meaning I'm adding adhesive, I'm putting it all together off the page, and then I stick it on, especially when I'm wanting kind of wonky photos, because I want to make sure the wonkiness makes sense as on the page. So I put it together off the page. It's all adhered together, and then I can place it and turn it ever so slightly while it's on the page or as I'm putting it down on the page so that it doesn't look too askew to my eye. I hope all of that makes sense, but it's easier for me to do that and get the angles and such right as opposed to doing it while it's on the page. This second page goes really fast because I really just focused on the clusters, and then I'll be filling in the journaling lines. Now, as I start to fill in the journaling lines, first of all, you're going to see me go back to Heather Kell's book, Kell of a Plan's book, Dated Basics, to add in numbers because I wanted all the numbers to match across the top, so we'll just cover these numbers up. But as I was about to put in journaling lines, there were some odd breaks that would make it hard to journal straight down. And so in order to break up different journaling sections, what I do is add a few labels here and there to break it apart. So for instance, the group of pink that I have towards the top and then that soccer picture, I needed those to be broken apart so that the journaling lines did not go all the way across. It just makes sense logistically, just based on how I planned to fill that area in. And then the same thing over on the right side, I needed a break with that yellow. And so we'll add in a piece right here, again, just breaking it up so that I can have two separate journaling sections. Otherwise, this one is done. If you like this memory planning process, this double process, then please consider hitting that like button and maybe even the subscribe button. Make sure to leave me comments. I love reading them each and every time and love responding as well. I have linked the supplies that I used down below, so you can be sure to check those out. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all of your support. It means the world. I hope that all of you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.